This lesson is all about pages. We'll go over the menu. I'll introduce you to the design editor and all the different toolbars. I'll show you how to add and delete pages, the different views you can have within your document, and what notes are and how to use them. When you first open up a document in Canva, it will look something like this. So you will have your page over here, either with your design or a blank page, depending on what you opened. And you will have different views depending on what your file looks like. Obviously, I have lots of pages here. You know, if you only have one page, it will only show one page. It will show you some templates depending on the size of document you have. But let's go over what else is on the page here. So let's start with the menu bar up here. So we have the file section. And I will go over most of those things a little bit later at different parts of the course because they're more appropriate then. But a couple of things I want to show you is up here you can change the name of your file. You can either click on this or you can just click straight into here and give it a new name. You can also change this name by clicking up here into this section. And you can just type a new name in there, and once you hit enter, it's automatically saved. It will show you how big your design is, the one that you're currently using. You can create a new design from here. You can upload new files from here. And I will go over the rest of the part a little bit later. This is the famous resize button that Canva has. I'll show you later how this works as well. I just want you to know this is where it is, just because it's part of the menu. As you can see, it has a little crown next to it. So it's only for Canva Pro accounts or Canva for Teams. This is the undo and redo buttons. So if you moved something, or if you did something, you changed the color or whatever it is, and you don't like the way it looks, you can just undo this by clicking this button, and you can go multiple steps back if you have multiple mistakes that you made. You can also use the shortcut for this. It shows you right here. I'm on a Mac, so it shows me it's Command Z. On a PC, it would be Control Z. And the same for the redo button. So if you actually liked how it looked, you can redo it. You can see how it moved down here. And the shortcut for this is Shift Command Z or Shift Control Z. So if I'm using my keyboard right now, I'm clicking Command Z and it will move it back, and Command Shift Z. There we go. This little cloud with a check mark shows you that all your changes have been saved. So when you actually make a change, you will see 3 little dots in there. And then once it's saved, it'll give you the check mark. So 3 little dots when you're moving something, and then the check mark when it's saved. As I said, this is the name of your document, and you can just easily click in here and change it or whatever you want to do. Here you can see who's currently editing the file. So right now this is only me, but if you're collaborating with somebody, you will see another bubble pop up here and the name next to it. And then you'll see who is currently in this document. They might be on a different page, so you might not see it, but up here you can see that they are in the file. You can add somebody by clicking on this plus, either by typing in their name right here or their email. You can also add it to your team files by clicking on this little button here. And then you can say if you don't want to share it at all, if they can view it, if they can comment on it, or if they can even edit it. If it's on not shared, nobody else in your team will see it. It will only be your private file. It shows you who the owner is of the file. This is the only person that can delete the file. And you can also share a link to this file. And here you can decide who will be able to open this link. So right now it's set to only people that are added can access this file. So in this case, that would only be me or the people on my team, because I gave them access to this editing access. You can also change this to only team members in this case. I can add somebody up here that is not on my team, and they would be able to access this file too if this option is selected. If I select this option, only people on my team will be able to access that file. Or you can change it to anyone with the link, but use this wisely, because whoever you share this link with will be able to go into this file and change your file. They can mess it up, okay? So be aware. If you want to share this file without people being able to mess it up, share a template link. I will show you a little bit later how this works, but basically it's going up to the share button up here. And here you have the option of sharing a template link. And if you click on it, it creates a special link that will allow somebody else to create a copy of this design to be able to change it themselves without messing up your original. Okay. Then we also have your insights in here. Those are some stats about this particular file that's open right now. So for example, if you are sharing a template link, you could see how many people have viewed this file on a daily basis over the course of the 30, 90 days or all time. You can see engagement. As you can see, those are all pro account features. So if you don't have a pro account, you won't be able to check those things out. You will only be able to see the views. You can also, share it through the social media accounts you have set up already. And then you have the present button. So this is a presentation. If I would want to present this is an option here. There are different ways of doing this, and I will go over this in more detail in the presentation lesson of this course. But you basically have standard autoplay presenter view, and then you can also record yourself while you're presenting. Those are the options here. And then you have the share button, which will allow you to share your design with other people publicly, all kinds of different versions. I will go over this in more detail as well in the sharing lesson. So there are lots of different options, especially if you click on more here, and I will cover them all in a different lesson. I just wanted to go over the menu bar, and that's part of it. So all the way on the left over here, you have a menu with all the things you can add to your design. So those are all things you can drag or click on to add to your design. And this menu looks a little bit different depending on how you use it. So the first items, templates, elements, uploads, text, photos, and so on, they will always be there. But the rest of those items here in the menu, they show up depending on how you use them. So if you've never used them, you might not find them in the menu yet, and then you have to scroll all the way down and click on the 3 dots here in the more menu item. If you click on that, it will give you more items. So some of these, like emojis, for example, or Google Maps, they might show up here instead of in your menu if you've never used them before. So if you can't find something in this menu, scroll all the way to the bottom and then click on more. And then you can find even more apps here. So let's just go through them really quick. So you got the templates, obviously, those are sized to your design. So right now, for example, I have a presentation size design. So all the templates that are shown to me now are already the same size. I can't find any Instagram Reels, for example, any templates for Instagram Reels because I have a presentation open. Then we have elements, anything from graphs to shapes to graphics and tables and all things like that. I will go over this a little bit later. You can find your own uploads here. So if you want to add something to your design that you've uploaded, whether it be images, videos, or audios, you can find those here. And from here, you can also upload more. You can find text. So not only do you have your brand text if you have it set up in your brand kit. So you have your headings, your subheadings, and your body text here, and you can just add text by clicking on it, and it will show up in your design already with your font selected there, depending on which one you click on. Then you also have some design ideas that you can use if you don't want to use your brand fonts. So if you have a special event, for example, or you're doing something, a personal design for a birthday card, or I don't know. So there are some pre-designed text designs, I guess, and you can just click on it, and then you can still change the text. So they give you the effects already, but you can go in there and you can call it something else. There. You have photos, you have styles, and again, this is where you would find your brand kit setup, so your fonts and your colors. I will go over this a little bit later as well. You find videos, you find background images and colors. So these are really just for the background. So if you click on this, it will change the background of your design. It was just a color before, and now if you click on any of those photos, they will be added to the background. The all your designs folder is basically a projects folder. So anything that you've created would be in this folder. As you can see, this is all my stuff. So you can just add designs you've done before. For example, this one would be a presentation. I could just click on this and then it'll show me all my pages, and I could add a page from my own designs to this one. We have charts. I have a folder here with my brand images. So, if I want to add something that I've used before and that I've saved before, I can go to this folder. This is something, as you can see, it has a little X here too. You can delete it. This is something that's only there because I've used it before. And here are some other folders. There's a content folder I have. QR codes is an app that you can find under more here. If you click here, I will go over this later. And then there are some more apps I will also talk about a little bit later. There's also a clients folder that I have here. Again, this is a custom folder that I have set up, but if you use it a lot, you can have it in this menu bar as well. And there is your logos folder. So if you have set that up in your brand kit, you will have your logos available here. So you can just drag and drop them in or click on them and they will show up in your design. And then you have the folders, the folders folder. So all your folders that you have set up, you can find them here. So if you're ever looking for anything, you can find it in this folder. We also have a toolbar up here, and this one changes depending on what you click on in your design. So if I click on a text box, for example, I will get this toolbar, which lets me change the font. Again, I have my brand fonts in here, and then Canva suggests some fonts, and then you can scroll down and you have lots and lots and lots of fonts to choose from. You can see the ones that are pro fonts marked with a little crown. So if you have a free account, you won't be able to use those. I can change the size. I can do all kinds of other things. If I have a photo, for example, let me just add a photo. This will look different up here. So it'll give me the edit image, menu item, and I can crop it and flip it and all kinds of other things. I will go over those toolbars later when I talk about specific elements. Speaking of elements, if I have an element that I want to add, for example, I want to have a square in here, this toolbar will look different again. So I have the option of changing the shape, the color, I give it a border, I can add text to it, and so on. So this toolbar up here will change depending on the context, depending on the element I'm using. So if I have this line, it would look different than if I have this text. Okay, this is context dependent, this menu bar up here. You might have noticed another menu or a toolbar pop up whenever I click on something, and that is this little mini toolbar right here that shows up whenever you select an element on your page. It pops up right above the element you selected. And it just gives you the option to duplicate or delete this element. And then if you click on those three dots right here, you get another little menu that's a little bit expanded. So you can animate, comment, and add a link to this element. But it's also context dependent. So some elements will give you different menu items in this little menu. You can also get to this menu by control clicking or right click on your mouse, and you will get this little context menu as well. By the way, you can collapse this menu here that shows you all the elements by clicking on this little triangle right here. As you can see, it says hide, and it gives you a keyboard shortcut as well if you want to do that. So if you click on this, you have some more space for your page, for your design. Now I want to show you how to add and delete pages. There's different ways you can do this, depending on which view you're using. So maybe let's talk about the views first. The first view is the one you're seeing right now, and it gives me that little timeline at the bottom here. So here I can see all the pages I have in my presentation right here. And I can hide them by clicking on this little triangle right here. And this changes the view. And now I can scroll through my pages. And for each page, I get this little toolbar right here that lets me lock the page. Then I can duplicate this page, I can delete it, and I can add a new page right after it, a blank page. So that is one view. I can go back to the timeline view by clicking on the triangle down here again and on this little arrow. This pulls up my timeline, and then I only have one page at a time, and I don't have this little toolbar up here anymore. I can still scroll through the pages though. If I just scroll up and down, as you can see, the pages change, and down here it continues in the timeline. If I want to add a page in this view, I can just hover over my pages down here, and it will show a little plus. And if I click on this, it will add a blank page right there between the two pages. I can just hit the delete key if I want to delete it. Another way to add a page is by hovering over one page that already exists and then clicking on the three little dots here again. And from here, you can add a page, you can duplicate the page that you just clicked on, you can delete it, hide it, and so on. But you can also just click on Command D or Control D on your keyboard, and that will duplicate the page you're on. So if I'm doing Command D, you will see that it will create the same page again right here. It even has the same name. So delete will delete this page again. Now there is one more view, and you can get to this by clicking down here. At the very bottom of the page, it says Grid View. If you hover over it, it also shows you how many pages there are in total in this document. Okay, so when I click on this view, it will give me the grid view of all my pages. It still highlights the page I was on, but here I see all my pages. And from here, I can easily rearrange them. I can just grab a page and drag it somewhere else, and then drop it. And then everything else gets moved around. I can click in between them, just like in the timeline, and add a blank page. And I also get the little three-dot menu where I can add a blank page or duplicate the page I'm on, delete it, hide it, and I can edit the notes from here. So those are the three different views you have for pages, and the different ways you can add and delete pages. You can also add new pages from already existing documents you have. And it's super easy. For example, I have this document right here, and let's say I want to copy this page into my new document. So I just go to the timeline view right here, and I click on the page, and then I select Command C for copy, and I go over to my new document, and I click on the page in the timeline view where I want to paste this new page. So if I click Command V now, it adds the new page right after the page I had selected. But if I don't like it there, I can always just grab it and move it around someplace else as well. So it's super easy, and I can still edit it and everything. It's the exact same page as it was in the other document. Another thing I can do, let me delete this page. Another thing I can do is I can add documents that I've created before from my folders. So I would go over here to my folders folder, and I would find a document that I created before. And let's say I want to add this page. I can just click on this, and it asks me, do you want to replace the current page or add it as a new page? So I'm going to tell it to add it as a new page, and it adds it right there after the page I was on. And again, this is all editable, so it's just a page from a document that I had created before. So those are two other ways you can add pages to your document. And one more thing I want you to know about on Pages is the notes section. I think it's usually underutilized unless you're doing a lot of presentations. You can find the notes section down here at the very bottom. It says Presenter Notes, and when you click on it, it shows you the notes for this page. So if you switch to different pages, it will show you different notes. Now this is really useful if you are creating content that you're reusing a lot. For example, we have our SocialStream subscription here, and we use the notes section for the captions of the pictures. So this is the post that we're sharing, but in the notes section, we have the caption already written out. So you can just copy and paste it into your, on social media, into your captions, and just post the image with that. So if I ever go back and want to use the same image, I don't have to reinvent the wheel and try to write a new caption. It's all here already, and we can just reuse it the way it is. And in presentations, as you saw, I have my own notes here for the presentations, what I'm talking about. So once I go to, if I would present this to you using the present view right here, I would see the notes as the presenter. That's why they're called presenter notes down here. So this would be visible only to the presenter, and the viewer would only see the page itself. I'm going to go over this when we get to presentations in Canva, and I will go into a little more detail there.